Harry, the man Spate. What's going on today, Harry?
Eric, what is the good word? The living legend, Eric Konovalov, in the house, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
What's
and you
going on?
you guys are on the Lead Sell Grow podcast today. I had this great idea and I called my buddy Harry. I said, "Dude, I got an idea." And here it is. The idea is we come up with a segment that's called Ask the C-Suite. It's Lead Sell Grow. Who better to learn from than the C-Suite? What do you think, Harry?
That is an amazing idea. I don't know how you come up with these brilliant schemes, but this is another great one. So I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, I have no idea where they come from either. But today, I'm super excited to introduce our guest and my dear friend. He is the CEO of Click Solutions, a managed IT services that's based in Baltimore, Maryland. He's the managing partner and founder of Molny, a global technology force. Now, when they started Click Solutions back 8 years ago in 2012, it was just two guys. Today, they're in three countries, headquartered in Baltimore. They also have an office in Amsterdam and a huge international office in Ukraine. These guys are blowing up, and we are lucky enough, Harry, today to sit down with their CEO, Arthur Olshansky. What's going on, Arthur?
Hey guys, how are you? Thank you for having me. I'm really honored to be here. It's awesome.
Yeah, I love that we got you on the show.
It's great.
Harry, how often do you deal with C-level executives with your team when they're cold calling or trying to bring new clients on?
Uh, Very randomly, occasionally, not enough. And so today, if we get a little insight from Arthur here, then it will make a lot of salespeople's days, I'm sure.
Yeah, I can't wait. But I'd like to get somewhat of a story. I'm sure everybody listening, they're like, "Hold on, how did you go from two guys to three countries in 8 years?" And it's been a roller coaster for you, hasn't it, Arthur?
Yeah, it's been definitely interesting. And we were just actually next week will be our 8-year anniversary. And we were just discussing about like remembering some of the early days where my business partner Neil at the time, we were trying to figure out where to work from, where to collaborate, where to meet up, and there was a few cafes, coffee shops, little restaurants around Federal Hill in South Baltimore that we would try to get there early enough to grab a spot that had a power outlet so we could plug our laptops in. Obviously, we couldn't afford new laptops, so we had old laptops that maybe had a 30-minute battery life. So, positioning within the cafe next to a power outlet was very, very important. So, that was some of our early challenges, and obviously, we've had a lot of fun along the way. We've met a lot of great people, have built awesome relationships, and sort of that's kind of been one of the reasons we've grown. I think we've been open to listening. We can't know it all. Um, Things just naturally happened, but it was not always easy. So, um,
Now you're not just the CEO. I mean, you're
but
still out
we're
there.
here, we're growing. Yeah,
Sorry to
yeah.
interrupt you. You're not just the CEO. You're out there, and you're very well involved with your sales team, and you're still. Would you consider yourself as one of the sales guys in the team?
Yeah, 100%. I love that part of I love the part of the business. I think I'm just curious by nature. I love learning about different businesses, hearing everybody else's story, like what their beginnings were, like what's their line of business, what their plans are, what their strategy is. And yeah, I do enjoy having those conversations. And I think I enjoy selling. And for me, it's like a mechanism to help because they present to me challenges. I love to kind of solve some of those problems, leveraging technology. So it's kind of like every day, it's always something new.
Yeah, that's awesome. But before you started back then, Fed Health Solutions and now Click, you
Yep.
weren't the sales guy.
hmm No, I was a technical guy. So my background is a technical network engineer. In the last role I had before Federal Hill Solutions, I was doing like solutions design, solutions engineering, and we were actually I was working for a company based out of New Orleans in Louisiana, and working on very very large projects. but really just supporting the sales team. They had a very veteran sales team that was like embedded in some of these really large accounts like the Department of Defense, NASA, big universities. LSU was projects I worked in. The World War II Museum in New Orleans, I worked on a large project there. But really all I was doing was like putting stuff together and giving it to the sales guys to present. But I was on those conversations, and you know, I was able to kind of deliver the message and help to articulate sort of what the concept is, and obviously hope to make a sale. So that was sort of, but before that, I did a lot of hands-on stuff, installing servers, PCs, whatever it took.
So did you start the migration over from sales after you were kind of involved in this team selling platform, it looked like, and then you said, you know, I think I need to do some of this myself?
Yes, I think I was always entrepreneurial. You know what I mean? I've always kind of been interested in even owning my own business or being part of something. And obviously, when you're a small company, like I said earlier, with two guys, I mean, everybody's a salesperson. You know, doesn't matter how technical you are. You're trying to deliver value proposition. You're trying to get people excited. You're trying to get them, you know, committed to working with a two-person operation. You know what I mean? And working through that. But I think all that has really kind of, and also learning, you know, studying, listening. I mean, you know, Eric's been instrumental in concepts that we work with on leadership and sales. And so just, you have to kind of be a student of it. And then obviously you have to have that interest to be a salesperson.
So you get approached.
Sorry.
My bad, Harry.
No.
You get approached
No, I was
by.
We don't normally do this, but I am going to
Go ahead, you do
submit
it.
to you.
No, you trump. You trump.
All right, okay. So,
and I'm editing this out anyway. So
yes, exactly. Just I apologize, but it's fascinating. So I just wanted to close the gap here on this, because so many people who are in business leave it to their sales team to go get sales. But you obviously have a different philosophy. And I was just kind of curious as to where that came from and how you encourage others who are in similar roles as business owners or executives on in a company.
Yeah, I think initially, you know, we always had relied on like salespeople to kind of carry individual goals, you know, and it was very individually focused, you know, and sort of we've kind of migrated several years ago, actually, we migrated to more of a team approach. So me as a business owner, I want to grow my business. So I want to make sure my sales reps are going to be as successful as possible. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to give them the tools, the resources, the knowledge, whatever's in my head to help them deliver the message properly, you know, be able to sell. I think the team approach has been very, very big, and it's also has led to kind of a fairly significant growth within our organization over the past couple of years. And I love being part of it. I mean, I love going to lunches. I love going to different conferences. I love, sometimes I'm not a big network person, but I do like to go to certain network events, you know, and meeting new people and putting a face to a name. I do enjoy that as a part of my everyday life.
That's awesome. Hey, Eric, let's hire this guy. Sounds like he'd be good in sales.
Yeah, he'd be all right in sales.
Sign me up. Sign me up.
Arthur, so what, I mean, you got salespeople that are calling on you all the time. What do you think is the biggest difference between guys that get your attention and the ones that don't?
You mean as far as from our sales reps or from
prospects, from people who are prospecting, trying to get you to buy? Yep. What approach works?
Yeah.
What doesn't work?
I love this, because being a salesperson myself, I do love to take an occasional sales call, because I want to hear the delivery. I want to hear them present the value proposition, how they can help me, how they can help me overcome problems, how they can help me drive revenue. I kind of want to see it. And then I also want to see sort of like how hard they push maybe to get me to commit, what methods they take, whether it's a free trial or try and buy or sign now and figure it out later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do enjoy, I do enjoy that, because that kind of helps me also like learn for myself. And then some of the really, of course you'll run into some really, really talented sales reps. I like to take that advice, and when we have our own sales meetings, you know what I mean? We sometimes joke internally, like, hey, like I had an amazing like software guy call me, and he was this, that, this, or this lady reached out to us and completely had no idea what her product was and was trying to get us to commit, and not knowing that she was trying to sell us managed services, not even knowing that we're a managed IT services provider. You want to learn from that. You don't want to, you don't want to repeat those mistakes. So yeah, we do enjoy being sold to.
Oh, that yeah. Neil often will send me an email or a text message with a screenshot
Oh, I
of a
loves this stuff.
of a message he got
Yeah.
or an email he's got, and yeah, I love watching you guys actually decipher and talk through that stuff. But you know what? That's what's driving your growth now, right? I mean, right now we're in the
Yeah.
middle of this pandemic, and we spoke a week ago with your team. You told me that you guys just came off of your best month ever.
Yeah, we are, even just we kind of did an analysis of up to like end of April, and definitely we are, like, I think on record, I've never had kind of that experience, but it's been a lot of growth. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of work around getting customers moved to a different way of working.
Mm.
So there's been some emergency type stuff, but we've also had a lot of clients who really have valued the level of service we brought to them, that have come to us, and we have onboarded them fairly quickly to support them during this pandemic. And I think we've been really open to helping these prospects, to helping our existing customers. And I think all that, and kind of the team alignment as well, knowing who you're working with, having the right people on your team,
Hmm.
making sure you have the right people to kind of fill out the rest of the team, that team mentality, that team approach, that lion pack type mentality. It's better to win together. It's a lot more fun to win together, and that's sort of the mentality, and that has led to our continued growth as a company.
Yeah, it pumps me up. I just read an article, I think a week or two ago. You donated what, like 60 laptops somewhere in Baltimore?
Yeah, we're very yeah. That's yes. We do this all the time. Actually, goes back to kind of our finding, our founding as a company. Neil and I have always been big on karma, like huge on karma and energy. When you do good for companies, organizations that actually do really need help, uh, we we always try to step up to the plate. So this one organization, basically, what they were doing is they were working with inner city school kids that could not afford technology devices, laptops, whatever, and they were providing that as a way for remote learning. And they had a mission that they wanted to get together several thousand devices, and we got together and then basically procured 60 Chromebooks for them. And we had one of our business development folks, Karen Weiss, an amazing person, delivered it and participated in sort of like an event, which got a lot of a lot of interest from LinkedIn. But yeah, I mean, we always do that. We did that earlier this week for a client that was a nonprofit that was working with disadvantaged disadvantaged youth, who right now they're non-operational. They have been operational since March. They haven't been able to intake any clients, and their firewall died, right? A technology component, and they just like, we don't have any budget at all to to purchase another firewall and pay for implementing those services. So we bought them a firewall, had it installed for them to solve but we believe it all comes back. So we
Right.
think it's all part of that growth, right? Is doing the right thing, not always about making money from it. It's just solving those problems for clients that just are not able to at that time make those investments.
It's kind of like your
So,
philosophy, Harry, with the Zig Ziglar philosophy.
yeah. So help others get what they want, right? And
That's
then
it.
you'll get what you
Yeah.
want in life. So
That's
yeah,
that's exactly
we
it. So
love to
what?
see that, right? And the community loves it. I mean, when companies are looking at what types of business to do business with, I mean, you would hope that they would look at the ones who are actually taking care of their community,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
We're big believers in that whole energy. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
in just people, you know what I mean? Like when you meet a person, you just know it's the right person, or when
right.
you meet a person, you know it's not the right person. Whether you want to
Hmm.
hire that person, you want to work with that person, you want to be friends with that person, energy is huge.
Yeah, that's for sure. So
Yeah.
you've hired in the last 8 years, you've hired quite a few salespeople,
Yeah.
and you know,
Yes.
so now inside looking out, what's the difference between like what's Karin doing, right? Because she's super successful and she hit the ground running very quickly, versus a few others you had
Hmm.
in the past that weren't as successful.
I think it's listening, team approach, um, kind of in line with sort of my mentality, in line with Neil's mentality of taking care of customers, doing the right thing, positioning the right products, making sure it's delivered. Kind of that. It's been a different approach. It's been a team approach. Like in the past, we had great sales reps, highly competitive sales reps, right? So if one sales rep did well, the other rep wasn't really too excited about that success, and it was visible. I mean, we can see body chemistry, was it body movements and
Language,
stuff like
yeah.
that. You can see it. You're right, body language. Thank you, Eric. Yeah, but now it's we celebrate each other's wins, and then we cry about each other's losses, and try to figure out where we went bad, where it didn't go right. When you're bidding on new business, new clients, you can't win it all, and so I think that's a different mentality, and we all push each other, and it's a team, and sort of now we know sort of the right mix of the right individuals. To continue to add to the organization. Not saying the ones we had were bad folks. You know what I mean? It's just us as an organization with our kind of internal processes, our mindset. I think we're now on to kind of onto the right.
It's
We,
awesome.
we over me, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in sales,
Yeah,
that's just
we
such
over
a
me.
hard balance
Yeah,
with
yeah,
competition and teamwork, right? Because you want people to
yes,
perform and some thrive on competition. And then others, I mean, I know I've always felt like I could care less about the board and who was in first. I just wanted to help win. And,
yeah,
in sales leadership, if you have that mentality, periodically have my team saying, can we have a little more competition here? And
yeah,
I'm just not that person that's going to spark a ton of competition because I want the whole team to be successful.
yeah,
What's your thought about
yeah.
that?
You want a little bit of competition. I mean, there's a reason we have sales meetings. You know what I mean? There's a reason we use CRMs, not only just to track opportunities. We want to see who's up on the board, who's the winner this month, and who's uh, who's the rock star for this quarter and overall. And you kind of want that. And I do see that in today's sales team. They do have that competitive fire, that
Mm-hmm.
competitive drive, that desire be to succeed, right? I mean, you know, to have the right sales mentality.
Yeah.
We have that, you know what I mean? But I think it's also like, I'll give you a great example, right? And I'll just speak about the two main sales reps that I work with every day. You have
Yeah.
Neil Constantoulis, who's like amazing at going out there, meeting people, creating that energy, getting the right people together. He says that often. This is like his trademark. I get the right people together, and from there things happen. You know what I mean? And
Master
that's his
networker.
strength. Karn is very master networker, right? Knows everybody. I call him the mayor of South Baltimore,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you have Karn Weiss, who's just like very accurate, meticulous. Her proposals all the I's have to be dotted, T's crossed, all the everything has to line up. The colors have to look good. You know what I mean? And that's her. You know what I mean? But I'll tell you what. When we're working on RFPs and responses together, and Neil's working on a large opportunity, Karn's the first one to step up and say, "Hey, man, let me help you. Let me help you put this together. Let me help you with some content." And that's sort of like the big win. You know what I mean? When you can get a team that's committed to that, that's the result is, I think this year we are trending to almost 200% growth this year over over last, and we had a good last year as well.
That's
So I
awesome.
mean, it's
Jeez.
working, right?
Yeah, I'd
So
say.
that's that approach. When people are stepping up for each other, it's huge.
That yeah.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
great.
I've never seen a sales team like that. It truly is. I didn't even know you had any kind of competition going. They seem like brother and sister who just want to help each
Yeah,
other at all. And it's like they're two peas in
yeah,
a pod. It's like the same type of personality, smoking, joking. You know, it kind of reminds me of
yeah.
me and the guys in the Marine Corps. It was like just awesome to be around that environment. It truly is. And if I bet when they're in front of a client, it's a riot.
Yeah, and it's it's the relationship, right? Like from a sales perspective, right? It's we just talked about it today. We recently lost a couple RFPs, right? Like I said, you cannot win them all.
Right.
And Neil kind of said it best. Like I think the reason the reason we lost is we had no relationship in there. Somebody already had the relationship when they were submitting on this RFP. We did it as sort of like, hey, we're on a streak. Maybe we'll get this one too. But somebody was already in there, and it's that relationship, that trust that you can build, that people will know that you're gonna. I actually recently had a conversation with a client that left us, right, and now we're working on maybe re-engaging,
How did
and
that
it's kind
happen?
of
That's
very
yeah.
interesting. How did that happen?
Yeah.
Um, I think we were a much different company when they had left us. And we never really were able to have a service that they really wanted, right? And this is maybe a couple of years ago, right? And
Okay.
like I said, we grew as a company, like considerably larger than we were last year, and way more larger than we were, 2 years ago. Changing people, support mechanisms, and processes. I think we've always had smart people working for us, but just the mix got better, and they went to a competitor of ours, a good competitor, but not being able to execute. You know what I mean? And the CEO re-engaged with me. We discussed sort of like what has happened with us, changes that occurred, some of the challenges that he's having now, and he was glad to hear about a lot of the things that we have kind of taken next level to. And so now he's open to potentially working with us again down the road, and the feedback I got from him is like, wow, you guys may be very unique in this area in doing what you guys do, because as I've interviewed many MSPs, I haven't been able to really find one that not only does a great job in terms of support, right? These are like your help desk tickets, and these are like how quickly you pick up the phone or you respond to a ticket and stuff, but also on complex engineering implementations. You know what I mean? Not many MSPs are able to do very large upgrades and migrations and cloud migrations and projects like that. So I think this is sort of how we major differentiator for us, and that was one of the key things that he was really interested in, is just getting things done. He felt like we had the right mechanism to get things done for them.
One thing I absolutely admire about you is your ability to always learn, develop, grow. I remember you were in the first group ever that I started for the mastermind groups, and
Oh yeah,
we were learning the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, and it was in your
yeah,
office, and we had, I don't know, maybe
yeah. It
nine, maybe eight, 10, I don't
was
remember,
a great
business
group.
owners. It was a great group,
Yeah,
and we'd meet Wednesday evenings, like it's from 7:30 to 9 or 7 to 9. And one thing I specifically remember from that group, one of the principles we learned was reach out to, it's a leadership principle, but reach out to your people, compliment them, thank them, just spontaneously. And Arthur said, you know what? I'm just going to set up time every Friday, and I'm just going to send a thank you note to my customers. Just a random thank you note. And then he started doing that stuff, and people were like, "Oh, hey, this is so nice. By the way, I need this." And then like sales started rolling in from that. You remember that?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's the way it
Definitely, you have to.
works.
Yeah, you have to be open to giving thanks, right? So, and appreciating people, even when they're not your customers. Maybe that's just a good way to keep in touch. You know what I mean? We had a
Yeah.
customer that left us. This is a little bit a while ago, but I just touch base with them. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this COVID stuff's crazy. How are you guys handling it? Has everything been okay? And they're like, wow, this is like really cool to hear from you. Yeah, we're hanging in there. Awesome. Maybe let's touch base like in the fall. Maybe I may need your help for some stuff. But I was generally just reaching out to find out, making sure they were doing okay. You know, I've also taken that approach to thanking our internal internal team and our internal staff, and just showing my appreciation for extra level of effort that they take to support our clients. You know what I mean? We had a very busy period when this whole pandemic hit. We had a large amount of users. We're thousands of users that we support. Shift from coming to the office every day to going remote. And some of these clients were ill-equipped to do that. They didn't have enough licensing. They didn't have technology systems. Nothing was implemented, because who would have thought this would happen? You know what I mean? That we were out of the office, and my service desk worked so hard around the clock to get everybody shifted to this new way of work, while still keeping our service level agreement timelines, our things that we target. Sorry, our service level agreement targets in line at a very high level. And I reached out and I thanked the guys. I mean, I was really thankful for that, because that's really when organizations fall apart under stress. And I think we pulled through, and I think that's one of the reasons not a single customer of ours had major impact from sort of this, this. So you got to thank your internal team, not just prospects and clients. Got to do all of it.
For sure. I remember, and when I was in DC, Eric, the one of our biggest base of opportunity was in the former client realm. So I just had a few reps call our former clients, and the objection was, well, we didn't really like you that. So we said, well, we're under new leadership. and or they said, yeah, we had a pretty good experience. So, it's just kind of not rolling the dice, but it's just, people know you. It's already a warm call. They've already spent money with you. And why not take advantage of that? So it sounds like you did, and maybe you've got some additional opportunity there based on that. So where do you see the
you
future,
never know,
as far as this technology and the remote work, or what's your thought about this going forward?
Definitely. I have a lot of conversations with like kind of the C-suite around what's going to happen next ourselves. We have those same conversations within our leadership. Like, how do we go back? What do we go back to? What does the future look like? What does the new workplace look like? Do we really need an office this big? Maybe we have sort of a mix of now, within the office and remote staff. It's been successful for us. What does this new space maybe look like? Is it more meeting rooms? Is it more like common space, kind of a shared space? It's not just me. A lot of our customers are having that same issue. They're like, look, we've been able to I just had a conversation yesterday with a client. He's like, I think we're way more efficient working from home.
Mm-hmm.
And he just said, he goes, and I spoke to a client that also is a salesperson. He said, I'm way more effective, because just think about it. If I get in my car, and I live in Reisterstown, and I drive to Washington, D.C. for a meeting, right? Mm-hmm. I've lost half a day.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Just in travel. He goes, here, literally, he goes, I'm so busy with my schedule and my meetings and tasks that I will miss lunch in the house. I mean, I'm sure you guys, if you guys can relate, like,
yeah,
it's crazy, sure. Right? But like, just think about it. So now everybody's thinking like, hey, we're probably way more efficient, effective working from home.
Yeah. I got invited to be on a call for JLL's global leadership. And I'm telling you, the property management companies, they're very cognizant of that. The retail space, the space that organizations are occupying are going to drop. I mean, they're predicting a huge drop in those numbers, and you're 100% correct on that. Yeah. So, how are you guys preparing for it, or what should companies do from a technological aspect to prepare for it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously having the right systems in place. You know what I mean? We just before we got together here, I had a call with a client of ours that ran into an issue because they didn't have enough licenses for their VPN connection to their headquarters. So, you know, they were in a rush. They weren't prepared. And now we're sort of thinking about future. You know, what does that look like? What does the new technology look like? We see a huge push on clients in leveraging cloud, right? So moving applications, workloads, controls, uh, the entire environment is leveraging as much of cloud as possible. Organizations that were already in the cloud almost had zero impact during this move to remote, right? So now
Hmm.
everybody's now starting to consider that as kind of the new normal. So it's those conversations. What does it appear like? What does it look like? What is the user experience? What are those costs? We're working with a client right now where we're creating sort of a template for them, a matrix of your current spend on IT as it is with an on-premise environment versus what that would look like if we were to move you to Microsoft Azure, the Microsoft cloud platform. Then honestly, the difference is not that much, and they're basically committing to making that move. So we see a huge uptick in that kind of activity. We're also seeing a lot of stuff where where clients are nervous about going to like a public cloud platform like that, using Azure or Amazon or AWS as we know it. There's Google Cloud also. They're saying, look, can you design for me a private cloud? I don't want any equipment in my data center or on my office. In my office, I want them sitting in a data center, and then I want to pay for all that as a service. And I want you to include all the equipment, the software, the services, the disaster recovery, the backup. I just want a monthly number, and I just want to know that it's available, but I also want to make sure that it's secure and nobody else has access to it but my organization. So we're seeing a huge uptick in that, and we're working with a lot of clients and moving forward into that direction. But a lot obviously to do with remote, a lot to do with security, obviously securing those users now that are no longer coming to the office, accessing it from a maybe non work desktop or laptop, uh, putting controls in place for that. We even have clients that are asking us to provide reports on user activity. Like, are my employees actually working? Are they busy? So there's a whole avenue of software available for that kind of management. So it's kind of a
Wow.
different, a new norm, a different world.
You really don't need to be in the office anymore.
No, no,
Unbelievable. But
no.
this took you globally, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
you almost got stuck in Ukraine when this whole pandemic hit, didn't you?
Yes, yes, yes. We have an office in Ukraine. We're now in kind of year two there in Kiev, which is capital of Ukraine. Very fast growing office. We seem to be adding people all the time there now. That gives us ability to provide 24 hours a day support for our clients. But I was on a trip there right before the travel ban hit, and I remember it was Thursday night. I was sleeping. My wife was calling me frantically. A couple friends were calling me, and my brother was texting me that I need to get out of the country because there's going to be a travel ban, and it's going to be I may be stuck in Ukraine for 30 days. And quickly went online, obviously bought tickets. It was not an easy trip back home, but we did make it back in time. I figured if I did get sick, I'd rather get sick in the United States versus in Ukraine or any other place. It's good to be home.
Yeah, that's for sure. How soon after you got back did they shut the borders down?
It was so we got home Friday at 6 p.m. No, we were at Dulles at Friday at 6 p.m. and at midnight is when the travel ban hit. So we had
Oh
six
man.
we had six before the travel ban hit. So
Wow, we could
it
have been
was
having this
very
interview.
interesting.
Could have
Yeah,
been having this interview super remote, like
very
Ukraine.
remote.
So
Yeah,
tell us about your
yeah.
team in Ukraine. Like, um, how do you,
Yeah.
from a leadership perspective, how are you able to lead a team that's in a whole different part of the world?
Oh yeah, that's a great question, and we often think about it. We have a director that basically oversees operations there. We're actually illegally uh, uh, incorporated Ukrainian company. We have a stamp that they give us, like an official stamp, but we're called Click Ukraine is the official company name there.
That's awesome.
It's our own employees, our own staff. It's composed of both engineering support, the technical services team, as well as a support team. From an operations perspective, they report to a manager in the United States. There is a project manager in Ukraine that oversees a lot of that role. But as far as projects and ticketing and oversight, it's handled by two individuals out of our U.S. office. We've also recently added marketing support staff in the Ukraine office, and we're really working on, from a sales perspective, improving a lot of our lead generation, social media content, search engine optimization. So we're excited to see what comes from that.
How's the talent pool over there?
Oh, it's great. I mean, highly educated. There's I think 3 or 4 very well-known universities around Kiev, the city, that are pumping out just a very large amount of technology talent, every year. And Ukraine actually is one of the fastest growing offshore, I guess, markets for technology, specifically around software development. So in the software development sphere, a lot of developers are based and are supporting a lot of big clients in the United States and in Western Europe and beyond.
That's awesome.
And what would you describe as a difference between Ukraine people versus Americans and work ethic? Is there much of a difference, or what have you noticed?
I think there's not that much I think that's not that much of a difference. I think, people are the same. I think just, I think maybe over there they take things, I think here we take things maybe less, you know what I mean? We don't appreciate things as much maybe as they do, you know what I mean? They're kind of living in a little bit of a different world than we do, you know what I mean? So little things to them mean a lot. I think they like the interaction. I think they're very excited about working for a U.S. company. I think that really interests them. They want to really better their English language. There's a lot of motivation to kind of move with the Western Europe and U.S. So it's there, it's been, but the people are really the same. Everybody's very nice and in general, and
I love it.
We haven't had any bad experiences at all, and we're excited to continue to go back there, and we're excited to continue to grow. We actually picked up our first client in Ukraine, which was a whole different. Thank you. Which is a whole different type of sale.
All right, talk to us about it.
You want to hear about that, right?
Yes.
So based on, I was very excited. This was last year when we actually met this prospect. It's a leasing company, a bank, very well known in Eastern Europe and Russia and Ukraine. We're very well known. So we had a meeting. One of my guys knew the general manager there. He called us into a meeting. So here I am coming in. I think I'm a good sales guy. I've picked up a lot of lessons over the years, concepts, theories to use.
Good enough to be dangerous.
I'm coming in. I'm coming into this meeting, and a really cool office. Really, the guys like really sharp looking. We sit in the conference room. It's me, Roman Trager, who's our CTO. He's in the meeting. Roman and I are both like Russian speaking, but like very poor Russian speakers in terms of like a business dialogue, especially sales. And we have one of our guys who was a project manager at the time, and one of my techs who had the relationship. And so this guy comes out and he's like, hey, I said, thank you for making time for meeting with us. And I said, look, do you mind if we have this meeting in English? Because I want to use my sales techniques, my sales strategy. You know what I mean?
It's all about you, man.
Well, yeah, exactly. Right. It's my world, So I'm like, hey, can we speak English? And he's like, no. He's like, how about Ukrainian? And I'm like, this is where I peace out. I'm like, I don't like. I said, how about Russian? He's like, we can do that. You know what I mean? So, but it was very, very difficult. Like I was very intimidated and nervous because I couldn't, you know what I mean? There's a whole different world of Russian. I've never sold in Russian, and it was different, and but you know what? We built up, we kept in touch. we built up over time. He has a lot of trust in my guys over there that work for us because they have like a history from before, and he really likes the technical capabilities there. And he basically said, look, guys, if you're really serious about doing business here in Ukraine, and you guys are a real company, and you're willing to like step up and take care of it, I'm willing to collaborate, help you, and work with you on the proposal and the contract, and I'm willing to give you guys the business. As of June 1st, we're taking over for this entity over there, and we're very, very excited. We're still rushing to figure out like how do we bill, how do we receive money,
Right.
what the taxes look like, and we have to actually redesign our systems, not our systems, but our packaging. We had to redesign our pricing specific for the Ukraine market. I spent numerous days trying to figure out costs and like what the competition is like. It's almost like starting a brand new business, but I had to figure it out like in 2 or 3 days.
That's
Wow.
amazing. There's a value there that I don't know if you recognize, but when you asked to speak in English, and and they basically said, let's flip this a little bit. Where do you think where's the value in you attempting to speak a language you're not 100% comfortable in?
I think he felt maybe that we were really genuinely interested, and I think he appreciated it, and he was willing to hear us even if we were making mistakes, and if it was not polished. I think he was very, very open to that. So I think, and plus, but I also think he really valued some of the technology expertise that we presented to him that was maybe next level stuff on what is common there, right?
Sure.
We talked about when we got into it and we kind of like, got comfortable and we loosened up, we got into like, data protection, security. How does he value his data? How important is his data? What is his risk? How long could he afford an outage of a day, an hour, a week? And I think that's when he's like, wow, this is like really a new way, which is kind of standard conversation here that we're having with customers, but not so well, thought of over there or thought through over there. That was, I think, the big value that helped overcome a lot of that. And he said, you know what, this is, some of the stuff we talked about, backing up his data, using some technology that he doesn't have, some ways we were securing his email, encrypting it, protecting it, storing it, backing it up, were things that were not being done there. This is not a very rich country, right? So IT over there, overall, they try to get away with as little as possible, and just that's what they focus on. And I think we're able to bring a lot of real world, modern concepts that I think he bought into.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
Yeah, that's huge, man.
Yeah.
So, from a leadership standpoint, Arthur, if you remember what Arthur Olshansky was when you first started that company and you went from 2 people to, let's say, 4 people to today, what did that look like? Like, what do you think you're doing now that makes you, and by the way, I think you're a great leader just because of the way you care for your team and your people and your clients. But from your standpoint, what do you think makes you a good leader today, and that journey that from where you were to where you are now? And I'm going to edit this
I think
and make it better.
Okay, so I think some leaders are very set in their ways, right? It's like my way or the highway, right? As the saying goes. And I think I've been doing this now for some time, and I've kind of had a chance to do some self-reflection. And, I think it's very important to also, I think, understand your strengths and your weaknesses, right? And I think it's also important to understand, like, people as well, and kind of the right blend, the right mix of people. So I think it's wrong sometimes for a leader to say, hey, I'm the smartest, or I'm the best, or whatever. I think a good leader knows that he needs a good team around him, the right people to kind of carry the team's mission forward. I think I've learned over the years to listen more, to not make rushed decisions, to be a little bit more analytical, to ask for advice and listen to that advice. I have a good group of friends who I think are winners that I always bounce ideas off of. You know what I mean? I always tell my kids a story of like, you're the average of 5 your five closest people,
Right.
right? So if you want to level up, have the right people around you, you know. And so I think I do have the right people to kind of bounce off ideas. And you know, now we're working on growing the business through adding the right pieces. We've done, you know, disc assessments for some of our clients, which Eric helped us out with, which really gives us good insight. We're going to continue to do that. We're looking to implement some other, you know, analytics to kind of help us understand people. I think in the past we've made decisions based on like rush. I think we're more analytical and in making those decisions, finding the right people. Eric knows how long it took us to find a salesperson and how many conversations we've had around that. I think it's just being open to listening. I think it's knowing that what my strengths are, what my weaknesses are, and then bringing the right people to help get me through some of those weaknesses, to help, you know, to help me move things along. I think those are all things that have been big for us.
So pretty much all that can be summed up as you took your ego and moved it out of the way and became aware.
Pretty much.
And that ego, man, kills a lot of people. But you guys
Yeah.
really embraced the behavioral assessment. You know, we use DISC, but um,
Yeah.
I love the story that you tell about once you figured out that your intimidating client was a high D
Yeah.
style, you were able to sell them.
Mhm.
Can you share that with?
Yeah. Yeah. We have I mean a diverse of clients. I mean, you know, the entire spectrum of the disc, you know, kind of profile, right? So we have one client that, you know, I mean, a great client, but he's high D. I mean, it's like as clear cut as you can get, you know, like, you know, almost, I don't want to say a bully, but as close as you can kind of get to like a bully, you know what I mean? Give it to me now. Yeah, I need it right away, whatever. So we kind of learned to respond to him. I learned to respond to him a different way. Uh, and it's been way more successful. Like, uh, you know, and so I was working with him directly because it's kind of a, you know, a large client of ours, and I didn't have a sales rep assigned to him. But I figured out sort of the profile and kind of the best path moving forward. And then so I recently transitioned this client to Karn. So then as part of my transition to Karn, I explained to her, you know, where this guy falls in on the profile, you know, on the disc profile, and how to work with him. And she's like, I got it, because she's also trained now on that. And also she quickly has been able to have success with this client. They recently opened up a couple locations. We work with them on some stuff, and those conversations are like this, but highly productive and highly successful. So we're going to be doing more of that, Eric. We're going to have you in to work with more of our team and learning how we can work better with each other, and also how we can work better with our clients. Because at the end of the day, their clients are very important to us, and if we can deliver it to them the way they want to receive it, we're going to have great success.
No, I love how you embraced that. And it was like the first time we did the assessment together, and then I came in and did a training for what it means. You guys really ran away with it. I mean, I could see the wheels spinning in the meeting where it's like, oh, this client is that person is this is
Yeah.
how we got to deal with it. And it was just, I don't know. I love it. Absolutely, absolutely
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah, numerous stories like that. Numerous now, since we've gone through that, numerous stories where that's been highly successful for us.
Yeah, you know, now more than ever, from what I'm seeing in the companies I'm speaking with, the labor pool is going to come back. And there's going to be
Yeah.
way more people out there applying to jobs than there are going to be jobs. So it's essentially a buyer's market, right, for talent. How do you know, not only, you know, the person could be an amazing person, great personality, great experience, tons, loads, awesome attitude. How do they mend with your team, with the strategy that you have going on? Nobody knows. And that's where these assessments come in so handy.
hmm
So what's next for you guys, Arthur?
Well, so you know, now that so it's kind of interesting because we grew considerably during this pandemic. We've added uh, more people to the team. So we're coming back to this office. I'm hoping end of this month, maybe beginning of June, right? The RTO, return to office initiative move.
Love it.
We're out of space. So we were bursting at the seams in our office right before this pandemic, where I was actually sharing my office with our CTO. obviously have a great relationship with, but we were literally sitting in the same office.
Yeah,
And
but
then
just
we
so
had
people
marketing
know,
people sharing it.
sorry
Yeah.
to interrupt, but you were in a pretty small space before in Fed Hill. And then I remember you got
Oh,
really
yeah.
excited when you guys were moving because this, where you are now, that's where Under Armour started, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, you're right. So our initial office was literally probably was a tiny room with a bathroom. It was on Fort Avenue in South Baltimore. So it was a small room with a tiny bathroom where we could literally Neil and I went and bought 4 desks from IKEA, and a printer, and that was the office, right? We
I
set up
love it.
like a wireless network. I ran the cabling, which was a disaster because I will share I'm pretty colorblind, and if you ever have done some of the cabling work, a lot of those pairs have very similar colors between the brown, the green, and the red. They all look the same to me. So it took many hours to get it right. But we couldn't pay for somebody else to do it. We got that office set up. We were very, very happy. We had our own bathroom. We had internet. We had a window. That was the office. And then we outgrew that office. We had a couple folks join us. We outgrew that office, and then we moved to a space, Eric, first on Charles Street. So we got a nice space on Charles Street, but that place didn't last long because there was like some kind of sewage issue under the ground. And in the warmer months, you can't go in there. It smells literally like sewage, and it was in an apartment complex, so there would always have water leaking from the top. So then we found one of our clients bought a building. They bought a building in Pigtown, just outside of Federal Hill, and we moved into a space there, and it was actually on the same floor that Under Armour had their first space. It was the Wacomico Street building. On the 7th floor was the Under Armour first office, and they used to have it open, and you'd be able to go in there and you'd see like their first athletes would go in there, and they would signatures on the wall where Kevin Plank would sit. They would sign their names, and then their sales team was actually very cool, right? Because there was an area where they had their sales pit, and their sales guy would write on the wall like how many stores they were in and what date it was. You know what I mean? So they were literally, and you could see all that, right? And for a while there, they would have all their new hires. As Under Armour would have new hires, they would bring buses to the building and they would walk them through the space. So it was kind of really cool to see that. Obviously, we all know Under Armour, and we're still in that building. We just consolidated everything. We grew out of that space. We have a much bigger space on the fifth floor where we are now. And like I said, right before this pandemic, we were running into space issues. And while we were gone, we must have hired 5 or 6 people, and now we have nowhere to put them. So we're trying to figure out what to do. We're communicating with our building management to see if there's any other space in the building. So I guess these are good problems to have, right?
Great problems to have.
Yeah.
Congratulations on your problems.
Thank you. We're going to continue to work hard.
Sure gonna miss the sewage smell though.
Well, yeah, it's true. We can always drive down Charles Street and pick it up.
It's a
We
great
can
story.
park out there for a few hours.
I mean,
It's a great story.
talk
Nothing
about
like,
humble beginnings.
just
Wow.
imagine, we had a conference room right out front, and that's where the sewage smell was the worst. And you have a client, and you have a prospect coming in to your office. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're trying to prep this room to have a meeting and a whiteboard, and Eric was in that space. That's where we had our first group get together was in that
Oh my
space.
goodness.
Luckily for us, it wasn't warm yet. But just imagine you're coming in the morning. You got your prospect coming in 10, 11 a.m. And you're doing the best you can to air this thing out to make it presentable. But that's part of growing up.
It's part of growth.
Wow.
It's
Yeah,
great.
part of growth.
What advice do you have for new people, for people that are either getting into entrepreneurship or getting into sales right after this pandemic?
Oh, well, be prepared to work hard. I always tell people, like, if you're opening a business because one of your friends or somebody close to you is promising you something, think twice. You know what I mean? Because it's not that easy in kind of the real world. You know what I mean? And so be prepared to work very hard, a lot of hours outside of the norm. Be prepared for a lot of failure. Really test your mental strength, right? You will prepare for and you will see a lot of failure. I can honestly tell you, when Neil and I opened the company, we probably went about 9 months without making any money. we were just basically trying to keep the lights on in the office, and it was not very easy. And trust me, your mind will start playing games with you, and you will start having second thoughts, third thoughts, fourth thoughts, and everything you can possibly imagine. If you want, if you're willing to do it, you will have a lot of fun. You will learn way more than you would working for somebody else, and then you will really enjoy your success more than you ever would working for any other company, and because it's your own pretty baby, right,
Oh,
Harry?
that's so true.
That's so strong.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great advice. And then from a CEO's perspective, what's some of your biggest concerns now that you're worrying about?
Well, just growth. Just continuing growth, handling more employees. We just recently added some folks to our team to kind of help us along the way more on the management side of things that have worked for larger organizations, kind of office administration, office management, helping Roman and myself really think things through a little bit more in more detail. We recently implemented a new payroll system that like automates a lot of our functions and adding a little bit more to it so our employees can benefit. We're now really focused on training, aligning closer with some of our partners like Microsoft and Sophos and a few others to become stronger partners, to go through technical certifications, not only from a marketing perspective, but also in competency, and really embracing newer technologies. So I still spend a lot of time with Roman, really thinking about like what else is new, what could people be interested about, what should we research, what should we test out. We're doing a lot of research and development on technology. I'm a big believer of don't practice on your clients. You know what I mean? Don't try things on your clients.
It's a
So
good
we're really working on practice, right? So
Yeah.
good policy. So we are working on designing, like we have it already, a lab where we can try all this different stuff and get really, really strong. And at the end of the day, it's just going to make us more profitable, right? So if we're doing a project and we know this product inside out, we're going to roll through it like lightning quick. And we've had that already happen. We're very strong in a lot of the Microsoft platforms. We're doing a lot of migrations, upgrades. Very, very strong team. I mean, our technical team, I would put them up against pretty much anybody. I've never worked with such, wizards. You know what I mean? Like we have on our team. And the result is, we week to week we have 100% customer satisfaction. So every ticket, every project, the end user has ability to rate our team. So we monitor that very closely. We have a 100% score now trending for several weeks in a row. Our service level agreement timelines, we monitor those closely. We want to deliver a white glove treatment to our clients because in the end of the day, that's going to keep those clients and that reputation is going to continue to grow and bring us more opportunities with new prospects and new clients. So that's really our focus right now is doing that and listening to our clients. Our clients will tell them themselves what their needs are and making sure we can address them properly and quickly and in the right way.
Wow.
That's right.
Yeah. If more CEOs thought this way, I think they'd see a lot more success.
I am betting on your success, Arthur.
Thank you.
Me
I
too.
appreciate it.
That's
Thank you,
great.
guys. Thank you.
Arthur?
It's been a long road, but we're here. So
Yeah. So for those folks who are listening in right now, if they wanted to migrate to cloud or they needed some new IT services or anything like that, how do they find you or your team?
well, so click.solutions is our website. So KLIK.solutions in our website. On there, obviously, you can request information. In there, there'll be links to our LinkedIn page, our Facebook page, other ways of social media to reach out. Our phone number obviously is there too. Our phone number is 888 959 1196. And obviously, you can dial and talk to sales. But easiest way is just, if you go to our website, it'll pop up a chat screen and somebody will engage with you. Just say, I want to talk to Arthur or I want to talk to Karin or Neil. And we certainly would love to have those conversations to try to help folks.
That's awesome, man. One last question. What legacy do you want to leave behind?
Ooh, that's good question and a tough question. I just want to be, I want to be thought of as a good leader, a good boss. like somebody that people enjoyed working for. I feel like, I want people to think of, the team approach, sort of like in a football game, somebody like a quarterback. When a quarterback says, everybody do this, this, everybody's willing to do that. Somebody that was personal, available, wanted, I always tell folks, and they're always, I think, taken back when I tell them, look, you should be getting these certifications. It's not only just good for Click, it's also good for your personal growth.
That's
And
great.
sometimes people are like, wow, you know what I mean? They're like, wow,
Yeah.
like, why would you even mention that? Because look, this is life, right?
Right.
I want people to be successful, to grow, and I want them to think of me, think of myself as somebody that maybe has empowered them to be better, to be more successful. So
It's like that old saying or old quote goes: two guys are talking to each other, and one says, "What happens if we train our people and they leave?" Another guy says, "What happens if we don't train them and they stay?" You know?
100%,
So yeah, you've empowered
100%.
us today, Arthur. Strong leadership, man. It's evident how you love what you do. It's evident how you care for your clients, how you care for your people, and we're super excited to watch you grow and help you in any way we can as well. So thanks for joining us
Yeah.
today.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you guys for
awesome.
having me. It's been
Yeah.
all. Yep. Go ahead, Harry.
I
Sorry.
was just going to say, do you have any special thoughts for your friends in Ukraine that may be listening in on this soon?
Oh well, they're dealing with the same that we're dealing. They're all working from home and very anxious to get out of the house. So we're having, like I said, people are the same. We're having the same conversations. I know they're going to be listening to this podcast, and they're very excited to kind of hear me. Yeah, we're all thinking the same, anxious to get in our cars, drive to the office, go get a coffee, get a lunch at our favorite place, and return to normal.
That's awesome.
How do you
Love it,
say
man.
how do you say we love you, Ukraine, in Ukrainian?
You s- Well, that I don't know, but I do know it in Russian.
Well, I know it in Russian
Ukrainian's
too.
not his strength, man. He said, peace
Come
out.
on.
My bad.
Put him
Yeah.
on the spot.
I thought
We'll
you knew.
edit that part out too.
Yeah. All right.
If you want, give me a few minutes. I'm gonna ask my wife, and we can reshoot we can reshoot this. But I'll probably butcher it because it's not easy for me. So.
Eric, you're so kind.